Hello Taurus, welcome back to my channel, The Vibes Inside. I am Mariana and I'm here to do your first reading here in the new year of 2024. Happy New Year if you have been celebrating, and I hope you're all well. So, a new year with a new energy. This is an 8th year. So quite along the scale, numerologically, wow, that was a difficult one, Mercury retrograding. Okay, in numerology we have the numbers from 1 to 9, so 8 is quite along the line, and next year we will have a 9 year, but completing, you would say, maybe a cycle here for some. But an 8 year is said to be a year of karma. We'll see about that. Anyway, so when I start a new cycle of readings, and I did with the Aries reading, and it was also a new year. But the Aries reading, sometimes I can stumble a little bit. It's like I'm trying to figure out what the coming cycle of or round of readings is going to be about. It always starts with Aries, right? And I did get the message, I think, in the Aries reading. It's coming through more and more. It's interesting how it changes. Then now I know I read for Taurus, right? Sorry. So what I had from the Aries reading, and what I also believe is going to shine through with the Taurus reading and the upcoming signs, it's going to be something like who we are at the core. Like who we are at the core. It is what it is. And it's like, I tried to write something down about it. I said, if you at your core are peace, you are motherly, you are peace, you are feminine, then you could, in your upbringing, be challenged, to become more masculine, to join that club, you could say. Because being sensitive and maybe sweet or, quiet or introvert was not accepted, You had to step up and join the game, and we all have to pay rent, we all have to do something, we have to be self-sufficient, that's the world we live in, being a human being. We have certain needs. So if you are alone, you live alone, you're single, you have to step up and do something about it, right? And there is a comfort zone, like there is, if we play with the right people, if you are peace at your core, and you grow up with being challenged on your peace, on trying to have balance, on trying to breathe and relax and feel safety and have trying to create equality, having like peaceful times, respect or something. You can grow up in a different environment. You can grow up in an environment that is challenging that peace. that is not accepting the peace, because it is something else. It is more chaotic. It is out of peace. It is at war, or it is. Do you see the difference, right? If you are peace and you grow up with peace, so with parents that are like you, it will be probably a healthier environment, you know. It will feel loving. It will feel understanding. It will feel, well, we know that things are not that divided. There will be things that are not always accommodating exactly who we are at the core, exactly what we need. But let's say you have primarily good experiences. You have primarily the same kind of environment. You are born into an environment that is like you. You know, you fit there. Then you could say at your core will be nurtured. Your core will be understood. Your core is validated from the start, because they are like that. Like they will, if you are born as a peaceful, calm, maybe a bit introverted child, and you have parents that are like that, you won't feel strange. You will not feel like you are an outsider. You will feel like you belong. That this is an environment you belong to. But if you are not that, in my situation, I am at my core peace. That's my core. So that's what I seek, you could say. I seek a peace, a peaceful environment, an environment where I don't have to fight, because I don't want to fight. Fighting doesn't make sense for me. There's no value for me in fighting. There's no purpose for me in fighting. But I grew up in an environment that was, highly, you could say, warrior-like. Everybody there was fighting for something. For their right, for their meaning, for their, muscle size. Muscle size was approved of. Ability to fight was approved of. I developed into becoming more like that, so that I could be joining the club, that I was accepted here. But I never felt accepted. I always failed in that. I didn't feel I belonged there. Somehow I was the outsider, at least in my core. I found no purpose there. Like the way that world or realm is interacting with each other is a constant struggle of power and competition and judgmental. It's about highs and lows, wins or loses. It's about ups and downs. Looking for the ups, right? Always looking for the highs, becoming better, stronger. It's a competitive world. Me being a little peace child, fitting into that, either I would be alienated, I always felt like I was. Like the world I was growing up in was not supporting my, you could say, feminine traits of the quiet waters. Quiet waters is not, it's not really what my family was like. Like everything was kind of a battle. Life in itself was a struggle. And everybody got into situation that created struggle in their life, right? And I never knew my purpose here. I never knew how You know, I had no compass here. Does that make sense? Like it's you can become challenged. For instance, I was reading for Aries yesterday. And it could be the same thing, you know, like Aries being a masculine fire sign that has drive and wants to take action and has temper and, you know, wants to explore and is an adventurer or is a goal seeker, right? Let's say that you are, this is your call. You're looking like that is your home. That is the essence of who you are. And you grow up in a peace home. Let's say that. So everything you do where you become temperamentful and you laugh and you scream and because you react with your Aries core, right? The peacekeepers in the home here, they will probably not like it, you know. They want to silence it because the peace people want harmony. They want balance. They want well, I guess for an Aries, it would feel like a stalemate. It would feel like nothing is happening. It's always the same. It's always it's boring, you know. It's a prison of stalemate softness. I have no one to, you know, there's nobody mirroring me, right? There's nobody challenging me. And I stand here with all my fire and all my willpower and I just get nothing, right? You know, I stand here and I want to do stuff. I want to fight for something. I'm a warrior, right? And the warrior part of you is not, you could say, approved of. You see the difference? Like if you grow up as an Aries in an environment that supports it, where here you have warrior, you could say family, they understand your drive. They understand your ambition. They guide you, right? They would push you. They would say, okay, we got a child here that really wants to test its boundaries. It wants to climb and skyrocket, and you know it wants to test itself. Okay, let them test themselves, right? Because I understand. I am the same. At my core, I am the same. I understand. Let's be warriors together then, or let's be active and dynamic together, right? Let's be adventurous together, right? Because I understand your fire, right? I understand you. So you can grow up in an environment that really understands you and supports you and wants to give you the best possibilities of testing yourself in the way that you need. And if you are a little peace child at your core that is like longing for harmony and balance and quiet and slow and feminine nurture, you could say, then all the challenge, all the football, all the skyrocket is way too much. It brings chaos to their life and to the nervous system and to their sensitivities. Do you see the difference? Like you can grow up and feel very safe and protected and guided and everything, challenged even. It depends on who you are. And what I saw in the Aries reading was the Six of Cups in the center. It's like a coming together with someone with whom I play. They are not me, but like me, right? They are, and that makes like the play, the being together becomes easy, it becomes fun, it becomes lighthearted, it becomes because we are the same. We understand each other. We have the same drive. We want the same things, right? I feel like that is probably what's going to be playing out in the readings. And I have actually been wondering for a while that, well, I got into astrology, but I didn't, like, it didn't capture me like this is my purpose, But now it feels a little bit like, because what I have been doing is that I have been trying to dive into each of the zodiacs and trying to understand them, What Aries, I just described Aries, and please correct me if I'm wrong, right? I'm still studying this, right? But that's how I see Aries. Very driven, very impulsive, needs stimulation, needs to test themselves, needs to go for that inspires them, and like if you hold them back, this fire just festers. They become very burned by that. If you try to keep them calm and harmonious and neat and tight, it's and I know, of course, we can't put ourselves in those like very slim boxes because we are a blend of something. But if you get my point of it, you will know if this resonates for you, right? You will know if you feel like you may not know what you are at your core. You just know that you felt wrong. You felt alienated or ostracized in your family, or you felt like you were an outsider, or not good enough, not valued, that you were worthless or something. If you recognize that feeling, I believe it's because it's what you grew up in was challenging your core. So if you know what your core is, what your core really is, then and becoming much more aware of it. Like for me, it has been quite a struggle to let the warrior go in me. Because the warrior is the one that fights, right? It's my protector, it's a protective mechanism. It's a coping even. It's a persona that I created to be in the environment, to interact with the environment that was very competitive and for me very harsh. Because I don't belong there. It's not my realm. I have no purpose here. I cannot have purpose because this is about fighting, having power, being on top or in control. But I'm about harmony. I'm about peace. I'm about flowing. I'm about the relaxation. I'm feminine. I belong to the feminine tribe. You see the difference? It's like how can I find purpose if this is my core and I am in a warrior situation? I cannot be true to my core and be a warrior at the same time. Because I'm about peace, I'm about balance. So if I'm over here interacting, I'm inauthentic, And that creates pain. That creates the feeling of being ostracized or even, disconnecting from yourself. That you're interacting with something, but it doesn't feel right, You can't find happiness here. We can have this in relationships as well. You are in a marriage with someone, but in the beginning it felt great. You had a crush on them, but now it has just become this hard work, or it has become extremely boring. depending on who you are, right? So I try to describe something, right? Taurus, this is your reading. You are ruled by Venus in astrology. So you are a feminine earth sign. Whether you are a woman or a man at your core, there could be something true about this. And how does this play out then for you? Well, I believe all feminine signs have somehow become masculine. Like we have to. Like I'm a Cancer, Sun, feminine, water sign. My feminine water sign part of me had to become masculine. It's a part of this realm we're in. As I said, and I grew up in a competitive, I needed to become competitive. I needed to become masculine in this way. To belong, first of all. It was my family, my caretakers, right? But also to join, like to really feel part of this, I had to adapt, you would say. I believe all feminines, at least I would say at school and in the workplace, become more masculine. Again, maybe you grew up in a family that was accommodating the feminine trait. Maybe you didn't. You grew up and had to armor up as I did, you know. But it's a lose-lose situation in that case, right? If I don't armor up, my parents will just annihilate me even more. Punish me or something, you know? I'm too strange for them, right? Or I'm too weak, or I'm too slow, or I'm too sensitive for them. They can't deal with that, right? They need something strong. They need something that can fight for itself. They need something to be independent and you know, a warrior. So be part of that, I had to adapt to that, right? I have the divine feminine cards here in the middle of the center of the reading, and I think it's prominent because you are ruled by Venus. Let's have a look at it. Wow. So I get Kali here, the mother of the universe. I release all that doesn't serve me. It's time to be the true of who I am. So this is a very, very powerful energy. Kali is considered to be the dark feminine. Dark feminines usually only show up because something has been wronged with them. The dark feminines are created because they have been wronged in some way. That is why they're even here. If they had not been wronged, they wouldn't be dark here. That is one of the... I don't know who I'm reading for. Of course, this will not be for all Taurus, right? She is not a bad or evil energy. Well, she could be if the one she stands in front of doesn't get her. This could be, you know, you Taurus, if your temper explodes, right? If you've had enough about something. Then she will come out, this one. this part of you here. She is a warrior, but she has only become a warrior because she had to. As I said, like being wronged in some way, and this goes for both genders. We all have feminine and masculine traits in us, and I think this goes even for across zodiacs also here, that the feminine parts of us, when they are wronged, this one is created, and it can show itself, right? It can come out and show itself. But as I said, she is only created here because she is wronged or pushed or challenged, or like that something tries to conquer her or take possession of her, own her, control her, Then she comes forward here. She's built, she's created, she's a coping and defense mechanism, this one. So this can talk about anger, bitterness. It can talk about manipulation, which is a shadow side of all feminine energy. These can be traits we are not very fond of, We don't want to show them, actually, But they can be driving the scene. Like they can be instigating your actions. They can be behind your thoughts. Because have we been wronged once, very wronged, we don't forget it, right? And the insecurity, the instability or chaos arrived, right? If it has been there once, it could come back, right? And feminine energy needs it needs a masculine protector. As I said, the warrior part is I believe it's a coping mechanism for many feminine signs, that we somehow cannot not armor up. Like if we should really show ourselves like totally honest to the world, we would be extremely vulnerable. Like it would be so vulnerable that because again, as I said, at my core, I'm a peacekeeper. I'm a druid, you could say. I don't fight. I'm not a fighter. I don't want to fight. I find no meaning in fighting. I find no meaning in winning. What is it exactly I'm winning? Why should I win over someone I love? Like it doesn't make sense to me. I understand it from the perspective of the masculine matrix world. That here I understand it. I understand the need for it. I understand the need to defend yourself. But my core says no, this is not me, right? I'm not like that. Like my realm is totally different. I'm not seeking highs and lows. I seek balance and harmony. I don't, it's not at all like that, But I get it, the warriors, like those that want to climb the mountain, fight for the kingdom, those who have that kind of purpose. I want to fight for this. I get it. I understand it. I understand that it's there. It's just not me. It's just not me. And if you ask me to be like that, to participate in that game, then you're asking me to be inauthentic. You're asking me to be something that I'm not. I cannot be it. I can never have success in that area. It goes against all of my core beliefs. Do you see the difference? Like it's a, but I get it. Like I get it that others may pursue different things because it makes sense to them. It becomes purposeful. It's the right realm then. You're in the right realm. But if you feel like you have been ostracized, alienated, you were a scapegoat, all this kind of stuff, it's because you were different than the home or the caretakers. You were different. They saw you as different or unwanted somehow. What you were had to be changed so that you fit the box. And growing up like that will leave you with a feeling of, not quite belonging. No, they are your parents, but you can't see any resemblance. You don't see how your DNA could come from them, almost. Feeling like an outsider, even if you did your best to fit in. Feeling that something made you sad or miserable. And it's because you are somehow forced to leave your core behind, right? Or to hide it, to hide the true nature of you. Your true nature is not safe. Your true nature is not valued. Your true nature is too much. It's too aggressive maybe. Or it's too weak, too sensitive, too emotional, too passionate. It depends on who you are. But this is definitely a card that talks about, this is a defiance that you feel you have to defend yourself. So let's have a look at the bottom of the deck, why this even comes up here. At the bottom of the deck, as a driver for this, I have Ariadne. She is mistress of the labyrinth. It talks about my soul knows the way, and the only way out is through. Yeah. So I don't know, Taurus, if you have been in a sense of a maze. This could feel a bit like a prison, like you have been, like feeling you are in something, but you're trying to find the exit door out. And the only way you can do that is, like, the maze is what it is. The maze could represent the matrix. That you're in this matrix somehow, interacting with it. That there's no way not to. Taurus is about self-worth. It's about, money. It's about confidence. It's creating the basic needs to go and you could say have these qualities to you. Like I had to, in my case, because I have been shedding more and more of my masculine side, you could say, embracing more of the feminine part of me, or this harmony seeker, the balancer in me. To do that, I had to shed some of this other part of me, and that could feel a little bit like a maze here, because I become more sensitive to the surrounding world. So there's a sense of a sacrifice to own who I actually am, to tell you, right? It's that is my truth. Maybe I'm here, I don't know. I know that my North Node is in the first house, which is about the self. It is about recognizing perhaps the core of who you are. Me getting closer and closer to my core, owning it, taking it in, shedding whatever is not needed. I have been sharing on my channel here, maybe as an, like an attempt, to share what I figure out, and maybe it can help you somehow figuring out what you are, because what you are is going to follow you around. If you have been wronged here in who you are at your core, like she comes up here as a defense, as a coping mechanism. And it makes sense, right? It says here that the only way out is through. So if you have to go through a maze here, maybe you had to develop this one, to go through it, or to be part of it, to interact with it. My soul knows the way, and the only way through out is through. So needing to go through something. And here you may develop her. Like Kali is very powerful. Like she's an archetypal feminine that is fighting for her life, you would say, for her existence. She has a sword. She has turned herself blue. Means that she's a different vibration than she would normally be. This is someone on guard. They could be on guard here. But you see, the feminine energy is only on guard because they have to be on guard. They cannot just flow. They cannot just be relaxing. They cannot just close their eyes and trust. The environment or the maze here that you have been in or that you grew up in required you to build this one, to have this one around. Kali can be, a part of your rising sign. Rising sign can be your protector, right? The rising sign is usually how we show up in the world. It's how we present ourselves. It's what we say. It's how we show up. Our clothing, it's how we present. It's the values we carry. They can be in the rising sign. So this one is she's very fierce. Like you can't just cut her off here. She can be anything that needs to be developed if you are somehow wronged or you feel unsafe somehow. And I believe this is very embedded in all feminine signs. Like the fear, that there's a fear lurking, that we're not quite safe. Well, unless of course you grew up in a similar, an environment, as I said, but then you're not on my channel, I guess. If you grew up in an environment that was really nurturing and caring, and you would know, like, let's say you had a neighbor, as I said, I'm born as this little peacekeeper child, right? A balancer, a harmonizer, needing, like that is my core. I need balance. I need harmony. How do I create that if I live in a warrior tribe? I can't. There's always some kind of struggle here. I can leave the attempt to balance my life and join the club, right? But never feel authentic here. And never have compass, never have direction here, because it's inauthentic. It's not who I am at my core. You see, she's quite beautiful here, young girl. So that may be your soul here, right? It knows the way. And to get out of some kind of mess here means that you have to go through. To go through, you may have to change her into her. Become a fierceful fighter here for your existence, for your right. To stand on your own 2 feet, be who you are, or to even retrieve, you could say, like spiritual awakenings. I believe that they usually take us where we may need to say no to certain people. We may need to make a different boundary, set up new boundaries, or change certain ways in our lives. Make new decisions, move somewhere else perhaps, or the job you have, maybe you have to you feel the need to change that. So you have to become fierce to fight for yourself, right? To fight for who you are and what you believe in, what your core is. Another thing that I actually think is taboo in this world is that we are all supposed to somehow work, right? To work, to do something, to be at work. But I don't think that all are appreciating that as a natural feature of their existence. I think that some are born, you could say, home caretakers. Like they would prefer not to get out there in the matrix, They would prefer to stay at home and do something there and be domestic housewives maybe, Which I don't think there's anything wrong with that. It's just at their core, that is probably going to be more aligned with them. And then we have the warriors, the builders, those that have to go out there, seek adventure or new knowledge. We have the engineers, we have those who want to build the new bridges or create the new spaceships, space aircrafts, and the new technology. If they are somehow prohibited from going towards that it is suggested in where they grow up that it's unnecessary, or what we know about artists, right? I guess that most children or young people that grow up and they tell their parents, but I want to be a musician, or I want to be a painter. Even if they have talent, the parents will tell them, yeah, but get a real job also, right? or music or poetry doesn't pay the bills, things like that. So you are somehow shoved to do something else. And here I talk about feminines, not men or women. We can have men who are feminines, right? Or identify more with the feminine gender or the feminine traits. And for some reason, it seems like we are all supposed to be the same. So we work with the same speed. Oh, society would like that, right? Society or the maze, or if the maze here or the labyrinth is I would say a synonym of the matrix here, I would say the matrix is asking the same of all of us. It's like a work camp, right? Continuous bossing there. And we are all supposed to contribute in the same way. We are all supposed to think in the same way, have the same values, show up in the same way at the office, right? Be loyal to the great plan, the greater plan, or to the management strategies of the management in the company. So we have to be loyal to this, to fit in, to even have the job, to be liked in the job, in the workplace, to be accepted there. But maybe you hate it. Like maybe you hate the 9-to-5 job. Maybe you hate that. Maybe you don't like it. Maybe your core is something else. Maybe work feels like struggle and fight, Maybe you would be a healer, right? Because the healer is about balance. It's about, you could say, equaling out imbalances. You see the difference? Like it's about finding the right environment. Like if you are a balancer or a peacekeeper like me, then you won't fit in, or it will be more of a struggle here in the matrix. It will be more difficult to be here. The matrix is speedy, it's fast, it's extroverted. Like it favors these traits, right? It's speedy, it's extroverted, it's masculine, it's active, it's a doer energy. It is it needs constant feeding. So it means that you have to show up the same every single day. Even though you haven't slept well, or you have kind of a cold, or and if you break down and actually get like long-term sick, it's like you are, it could feel that the company that really likes your effort when you are there can suddenly almost turn their back on you. You could get sacked or fired. No big deal, we find a new one, right? It's a machinery that is requesting the same kind of effort every single day. Or in this case, if the labyrinth is, your childhood home, that this labyrinth is this, you could say, machinery, or this environment, this box or zone, where something particular is playing out here. And being part of that is difficult, or is like a maze, because it doesn't fit you. Do you get my point of that? So I feel like I'm speaking to a Taurus here, where the environment, whatever it is, whether it's work, it could be, because we are in Capricorn season, right? And you are the second house, it is usually about, well, confidence. It's about like faith in yourself, trust in yourself, and money. And you know, if you grow up in an environment that is really challenging that, you have to keep your core clean and protected. You really have to become very skilled at navigating this maze. Like, you have to become skilled at knowing not to fall into the traps of what this environment wants you to be if you are not like that. Like, if this environment is requesting something of you that you cannot offer because it goes right against your core beliefs, you should be willing to walk the other way, right? You should be willing to see when you are in a dead end of the maze and get back on track, right? Because your soul knows where it's going. It's just, you have to listen to it. In the Aries reading, there was this feeling of something guiding, something helping, something watching over, helping, directing, or, this way, right? But you have to trust it. And maybe become fierce, right? Become fierce to shed the layers that prevent you from being in tune with who you truly are. Because here she has been wronged. You see the difference between these two, right? She has an armor here. She has no armor here. Right? Here she is, this young, unprotected, you could say, young, beautiful girl here. Here she has been in the maze, and I think it has wronged her. This can be a feeling of someone who has been, maybe you have gotten ill, that what you have participated in here, when you started, you were okay, but this journey here has changed something. It has changed you. So, it can be anything. It just means that, like, when Kali shows up, it's because she has somehow been threatened, like really wronged or threatened at her core. Otherwise, she's not here. And this is where you have the lightning eyes. This is the poisonous tongue, right? This is where, like, she is attempting with everything she has to fight for her life here. And maybe what you have been doing here, let's say you have been fighting an illness. That the maze here is an illness. And to come out on the other side, let's say you have been fighting cancer, right? You've been fighting a sickness where once you look like this, right? And you are healthy and strong and vibrant. And you went into this maze here. That could be the illness of something. This can be a marriage, I don't know, any situation. It could be a work situation that kind of gotten out of hand, It demanded a lot of you. This could be, the maze can suggest that you had to overstep a lot of personal boundaries. Or they were overstepped, that if you are in a severe treatment program for cancer, for instance, sometimes you just have to go along with what the doctors say. The treatment can be aggressive, right? The treatment can change your body. The treatment is challenging your vitality, your strength, you become tired and exhausted. You have no energy. It changes you here, right? And leaves you maybe defensive here. This could be, let's say you have been in a relationship here with someone, and for some reason they have truly challenged your boundaries here. So for this could be a trusting young woman who enters into a relationship and being quite pure and young and trusting and in love, and you just happy and something, and then you turn out as this monster this monster here, right? Because what you have experienced in that maze of that relationship was torment, right? So you had to become this one to get out. A very difficult divorce, like a relationship that took all your energy from you. It consumed you somehow. Like this could be a feeling of being consumed by something. And it has changed you. This can be like a very active nervous system, on guard, ready to defend yourself, not trusting, something like that. And this only shows up because you are in a situation or in an environment or in a job that is not you, right? It is not you. It's not accommodating you. Then you would look like this one. What you have been in has changed you. So if you do feel exhausted, on guard, a very active nervous system, sleepless nights, feeling neurotic, feeling, if you feel like that, it's because you feel threatened. That something vital in you is threatened. Your core. This can even be, someone looking in the mirror, and then it's like this realization, but this is not me. Like, what am I fighting? What is it that I'm fighting here? Because I'm not a fighter, right? I'm this one, Or as I said, Taurus ruled by Venus, it's a feminine sign. Maybe you are more feminine and your core, but you became masculine here due to something. Due to some kind of maze, labyrinth here that you have been in. That has, triggered your mind or brain into becoming. Like this can be a fight and flight response. It can be stress oriented, and it's not a wrong response. It's because there's something wrong here, something very wrong. Otherwise, you are not like this. Like this is a wronged expression of a feminine energy. Here she is defending her core, like she's defending her core existence as a feminine. She's activating survival mechanisms in her. That is That is the only reason why she becomes like that. You know, like a wronged woman, she can become very dangerous. A wronged woman. She can become reckless, yes. She can become self-sabotaging, yes. Or she can become almost murderous here. Like, you know, she can become manipulative, create smear campaigns. She can create gossip. She can be obsessive, you know. She has, can have, right? She can have revenge here, right? Like she becomes a warrior in some way because she's defending something that has been violated in some way, or she feels it's violated. Otherwise, she's not like that. This I see this, well, for Taurus, I would say this is the bull, you know, with the horns down. Angry, hooves in, ready to fight, you know. Every muscle is tense and ready to fight. This is where she has direct eye contact with her enemy here. Her horns are ready. The stubbornness is out there. The Taurus stubbornness, right? Becoming because I believe Taurus can be as peaceful as it comes. Very calm and like a teddy bear. But if you double cross them, right? If you double cross them, they can become the opposite. They can become they can become a monster. What is that called? There's a myth about Taurus. It is actually it is something about a bull in a labyrinth. What is that called? It connects with the Taurus zodiac. It's some kind of Greek, I believe, myth about a bull that was kept in a labyrinth. Actually, now I get like the feeling of being in a labyrinth, meaning that you are somehow confined, is, even though the labyrinth have many ways here, like you can go many directions here in this labyrinth, it's still a confinement, right? Unless you find a way out. So I feel like if you trap a Taurus, or if Taurus feels trapped in a situation where they can't seem to find the way out, they can become, you know, like burned out, or I feel like the message is something like, don't trap or don't keep a Taurus confined. Like if you keep a Taurus confined, this one comes. If they feel confined, you know, like in a, let's say in a marriage or in some kind of responsibility that they can't seem to feel like get out of somehow, then it could make them change here into something that they are not. It's because it's too much or it's too. Don't confine a Taurus. Yeah, I hear it again here. Don't confine a Taurus. I feel, and again, because I feel it's the feminine part, right? The feminine part doesn't like confinement. Confinement is a prison. Containment is like a fence around you. That just, like it signifies the perimeter, but it's not pressing you or keeping you or controlling you in some way. I feel like confinement is control, and this is where Taurus changes. Containment, I'm still not quite sure if it's the right word, but it's like the fence. It's just like an outer, an outer keeping in some way. That can be okay, but confinement is not the same. Never confine feminine energy or control or something, then it changes. And this is an important message for the masculine energies, because you don't get the woman you want, or you don't get the feminine traits you want from her. Like if you confine them, control them, fight them, try to keep them small, keep them confined or locked in, or somehow, in a contract, locked or tied up, you don't get what it is that you're looking for. She has to be there on voluntarily terms. It has to be free. It has to be open. Like any kind of confinement or contract or something is I feel for a Taurus probably or at least for the Taurus I am reading for, it's changing her into something that is not desired, like this is a part of her that is rebellious, warriors, and fighting for her freedom or her right to live here, to be who she is. The more confined she is, the worse she becomes. Like, think of her as a mother here in a marriage, right? Like that, it changes the feminine energy into something that we know it. Like, you just think about the wronged woman. It's terrible. All men want this one. Then don't confine her, right? If you try to confine her, she changes into this. And this is the one you don't want. Right? That's what I feel like. So if you are trying to escape something here, some kind of maze, whatever it is, something that feels like it confines you, like it holds you, like in a grip, it's if it feels too much, if it feels like you are maybe alone in this, or if it feels like the responsibility is too much, it's changing you here. From something that seemed like maybe a good opportunity to something that is now exhausting you. and you are actually almost fighting for your life to get out. If this is a very toxic or abusive relationship, like this is the woman that comes out after she has been abused, right? She is a fierce warrior here. And you can never ever double cross her again. This is what has been created. We said that energy can be killed, but it can be changed. That's what's happened here. But this one can, if she wants to, and if she is maybe left alone or given time to heal, get back to her here. But it takes healing, right? It takes time. It takes space, maybe. It takes separation from a certain like toxic or stressful environment. And it also takes a will, like because I believe for a feminine energy to be like this is a warrior energy. This is more masculine. This is not her natural state. And it's exhausting to be like this. So we know that, right? We can't stay madly, aggressively angry all the time. Like that it's going to take all our energy from us. We can be it for a while. We can be in some kind of problem for a while, but you also know that when you get out, well, you usually have to rest, right? You have to recover. I feel like this one needs recovery, right? If she wants to return to her core here. If she wants to return to another part of her. But there is a reason why she changed, or that this was developed in the pursuit of finding that only way out, which is through. And to go through, she may have developed this. This is a fighting off things that wants to maybe control her, steer her, manipulate her, confuse her or something, right? Then she becomes this like very focused warrior. And she fights off everybody or everything that is like challenging her core. Page of Earth here. On the left side. The left side can talk about past. Page of Earth, well, this can be a Taurus child, right? There can be a child in the mix here. So I when I look at this young page here, well, he feels he's kind of on his exploration here, right? He has this, what is that, a kind of fishing gear or something with him, or hunting gear with him. He's not saying much. He is kind of quiet. A quiet child. Or he's just still, because he's out there hunting, so he knows he shouldn't make any noise. It says a page of earth, but somehow I feel like page, but maybe not earth. Like it's a page, but maybe not of earth, or of, in this case, Taurus. That a page, but not of earth. As I said, it's like this idea: if you're growing up in an environment that is not or you are the page of earth, but can I have the bottom of the deck here for this page of earth? Like you are a page of earth, but why do I get the feeling that I'm talking to like rising people today, like the Taurus rising sign or Taurus? Because I said, like, this is like being in a situation where there's only one way out and you have to go through something to get out. And then you develop this to cope, or to be fierce enough or brave enough, or to fight for something special here. And it has the same tune to it here, that this is like a developed state of something. So at the bottom of the deck here I get 3 of water reversed. Well, this is the reversed version. I'm turning it around, right? First of all, the reversed part for me suggests something like that this has been left, like that this is something, it could be a bit of taboo, right? That being like this, like being 3 of water here, being like that is not acceptable. So we do something about that, and then we become more like this. And this is why I have the feeling of Taurus rising, right? That we become it. well, for some reason it comes across as a watery, again, underwater, an underwater consumed state. Maybe a bit imaginary, you know, a bit fantasy-like, a bit a dream. When you're underwater, you know, you can't hear as much. And for some reason it feels like she's playing with these shells with the pearls in it, right? That she's kind of juggling them through the water. Three of Cups can sometimes show a card where we see, well, this is different. It's the good tarot, right? But in other tarot cards, it shows three young girls that are interesting. Three young girls that are celebrating and dancing and cheering, you know, maybe festive, drinking, having a good time, playing, you know, laughing, dancing. So an uplifted feeling. For some reason, I feel like because she's alone here, it feels a little bit like she can't have Three of Cups because she's alone. Like, she can play with these shells, but there are no other mermaids like her, right? She's the only one. That could be the feeling of growing up in an, as I said, an environment where you, so you know, this could be like someone who is, where there's definitely something watery around them or in them here. You know, she could be that as well. You know, you have moon signs, you have maybe sun signs, Mercury or something that where you could have water here, right? But that water is, you know, she's playing with it. It's a little bit like a girl playing with dolls, right? But the dolls are not, they are a substitute for other mermaids like her. You know, she would have preferred to play with maybe like two other mermaids, but there were no one there, so she was left with the, you know, the shells. But then it was reversed, and I feel like it's because it was abandoned, like this dream or this state, this wish maybe. It makes sense, like if you take these two here and put them together, it's like she is alone here, she's alone here, and she's put in some kind of environment where she can only play with what is available, you know. There's no one like her, not like her. Well, maybe in the world there is, of course, right? But in the environment she grew up in, or in the workplace she's in, or in the, I don't know, the relationship she's in, you know, you could have, you could be married and you could have children, right? but the children are like your spouse, or the children are not like you, right? You may have wanted them to, but they are not like you. They are not like you at the core. So they go out in the world and pursue it in a different way than you would do it, right? Getting out of the water here. It's like leaving the mermaid behind and becoming this page of earth here. Well, if we should look at those, this suggests getting legs, right? Because she has a tail here, and to be on ground, to be able to navigate on earth, you need the legs, and she has also wings here, or he has. So changing your tail here into legs and wings. Or even atlas, right? That you have, it's a transformation, I feel like. And I think this happens when we grow up in environments that are not maybe emotionally fulfilling, or again you feel alone. But again, you see him, he's still alone here. Even though he has transformed, even though he has become something else, he's still alone. He feels kind of quiet to me. He's not really saying anything. Well, underwater there could be a special communication system. And on land, it could be different. This could be the feeling of being awkward with your words. That words and maybe voice is awkward in some way. That maybe you feel your voice sounds strange, or that you don't have a nice voice, or like walking. Yeah, I get the feeling of like I say, it's a page here, but I feel like actually a page of something else than Earth. Originally. This page has adapted somehow, but originally I don't think this page was Earth. For some reason, I feel like the confinement feeling is the feeling that you are supposed to primarily deal with earthly matters, where a part of you is maybe really longing to dive into the water here again and swim with the tail and be a mermaid if you could find others, right? Like you. Like you may miss this environment, you may miss this way of interacting, or the weightlessness also of the water. The weightlessness could be the feeling that walking here on earth is dense, that you have your legs are heavy, or like walking on earth is a heavy thing, like the weightlessness of the water, the possibilities to flow in the water. You see her hair. We know that in water the hair just swings in all directions. Well, there's a different gravity feeling here, right? There could be something about that, like the entire feeling of gravity and or density is less in water, right? Water makes you feel less heavy. It makes you feel less heavy, where if you are only able to navigate in earthly matters here, it could feel that life is heavy on you somehow. And again, to navigate that maze here, or to find your way out of it, to find a loophole, or to find a relief of something here, becoming this page of earth changed you. Or if I'm reading, reversed, that you are dealing with a Taurus and you have seen them struggle for a long time, or you have seen them change, or you have seen them change character. It could be because there's something here that is, like it's like they need to play with someone like them, or to be in an environment that is less dense, where you can flow, right? Or have maybe the feeling almost of flying, right? You can let go of you can lay in water and just let it keep you. It keeps you, right? It holds you in some way. Where when you are on land, it doesn't, right? Maybe there is a sense of that nothing is holding you. Again, I said there's this sense of confinement, right? That we all somehow need some sense of just a little bit of that we are somehow held. Like in the womb we were held, right? We were in the water. Then we come out, and then there is no water to kind of, have this bubble around us. It's like that bubble. We all somehow would like that bubble, I think. No matter what sign you are, just knowing that everything is all right to just go out there, right? But when we arrive here, when we are a child here, it changes. So you could have a water element here in your chart that is that could be significant. Now I also get, like I said before, it's like if you look yourself in the mirror, it maybe you see that you have turned into something, that you have changed into something that you can't even seem to recognize. It's like if these two were standing in front of each other, looking at each other, right? It would be this feeling of not being able to recognize yourself. It's the same here, like if they somehow were looking at each other here in the mirror, It's like they wouldn't be able to recognize themselves. It's like a different persona. But the reason why it's a different persona is because it has been challenged, like really, really challenged. And it has changed or adapted to the environment because it has to. Why do I get the feeling of like now it's like the feeling of way back, like Taurus seed, Taurus stardust seed, right? Being in a different state. That that Taurus is not Earth, right? That Taurus is, I think we all derive from water somehow, but and when we are in an environment that is not like us, it changes us here. Like for some reason, I believe you come from water here. Well, I guess we all do, but there's something about water here that you could be missing. Taurus, I think. Like when you are confined only to be earthy, that is, I get almost like an insult. It's like that is not only what I am, right? Or not only what I can do, or not only what I am. And that's why she's angry, right? It's like she's confined to be, characterized in a certain way, and that she doesn't like that. It's like an insult to characterize Taurus only in this way and only see them. Yeah, again, I get the feeling of like Taurus is not only what is written in the books. Does that make sense? Like there is a whole nother side to Taurus that is maybe not seen or hasn't been recognized yet. Maybe a very watery part or gentle part of Taurus, but when they are alone and when they are threatened and when they are in an environment that doesn't get them, that doesn't understand them, and doesn't want to play with them here, then they change, right? Magician and the Mirror, this actually came out when I was pre-shuffling. What was it? It was also Angel of Love came out, and Hanged Man in reverse. So Magician and the Mirror. And I said this idea of like they could, if they would look at each other, it would be like seeing total opposites. It could be the feeling of, like knowing a Taurus who can be so gentle and kind on one side, and then they can turn into this aggressive monster if it is confined to only deal with certain matters. The way you play on ground, the way you play on ground is different than the way you play underwater, right? Magician and the mirror. Well, magician in this case feels a little bit like shape-shifting, like being one thing and then turn into something else. Having the ability to knowing that if you could shift from this into this, you can probably also shift or change your energy back or into something else again, right? You can shift again. So we get at the bottom of the deck for the Magician and the Mirror, I get strategy here. Strategy is like a journal, a book, writing stuff down. This is the driver card, so this is well, I get something about unwritten journal, the unwritten, like the beginning of your story, like before the book is opened, right? The untold story of your life, from being a closed book, like from not maybe opening up about a certain side of yourself here maybe, to now standing and owning everything that is you here. The magician holding each mirror here, you could say, or having the ability to handle both fire and water here, is quite powerful. It would be, like being in between these two characters here, having the ability to stand with like a certain kind of light and a certain kind of anger maybe, and then being able to stand in the middle and handle both at the same time. But it feels a little bit like, because this is usually a driver card, and all of the cards down here are something that was once, but has been, a driver to get you to this point. So this was a situation you were in that kind of forced you to maybe go this way. Somehow I get a feeling of like an untold story, or maybe a secret. A book that didn't want to open. A book that didn't want to open. Again, I get there is a key here that may have been needed. There is a compass here. There is even a feather to write. You start writing that story. It feels a little bit like a You have a book in front of you, but you have no hands to open it with, or you have no glasses to read it with, or you didn't have the key to open it. So you see, it's like navigating a maze here, but without no manual or no map. Like the map could be in here, right? Like it says journal log. This is usually also used on a ship, right? But it's closed. It's closed here, and so the strategy for navigating the maze has been, a bit hidden, I think. You had to write that story along the way, or your mistakes, you could say, the mistakes you made, and you had to figure that out on the way. And if you were given the strategy from the get-go, you would not have been able to master this. Like being the magician here, who can actually hold the mirrors here. Seeing good in the bad and bad in the good. And vice versa. This is like like holding yin and yang, and then somehow finding a way in the middle. He has this infinity symbol across his head here. It's quite powerful energy. But you wouldn't have been able to tackle everything. You see, this is like a temper management person, right? They can stand in between their own, you could say, innocence and their own rage, and tackle it. The most naive part of you and trusting part, and the most mistrusting and angry part of you, and then being able to somehow find a middle ground. To tackle your outer polarities, you would say. That there's light in the shadow and there's shadow in the light. And the strategy book here cannot be written. Again, there's this idea about you finding a purpose. Like finding purpose in your life if you have grown up with values that are literally opposites of your core, like DNA, So if you grow up in an environment that treasures and idolizes earth elements here, earth values, but you actually are not really, you have other values, that you had to say no to. It's reversed here. You had to say no to that. And Tree of Water is usually like a festive, celebrative, dancing, laughing environment with friends, right? That are like you. Normally it depicts 3 girls dancing and playing with each other, cheering, having a little drink maybe, the cups energy. It's kind and cheerful and happy, festive, but she's alone here. It's like she's playing with these shells, but they are not a real representative of her, right? They may be from the environment, but they are not her or like her. Like she needs other mermaids here to have that festive 3 of Cups feeling. And it's also turned around. It's hidden here. And maybe that's why the book is closed, or was closed. And why life may have felt like this maze. Because it feels like there is no direction. You're given one. Like you were given this direction here. And to use this in your life you had to become something else than you are. Like it's challenging you a lot. Eventually it's going to help you develop like a balance between, like, seeing the two worlds, like the world you grew, the core you are, that you feel you mostly identify with when you are really authentically looking at yourself. And then the environment you grew up in, that would be, that would be what he's doing here. Like, he's looking at both of them, seeing value maybe in both of them, but and standing in between. It could be, someone having doubts about where I belong. Do I belong in one world or in the other? Maybe I'm a blend, maybe I'm a hybrid, maybe I am both. Or I have become both, because I feel something about Taurus, like the original, like totally eons back kind of Taurus energy changed. And now it's like being able to navigate different worlds or different realms, The one you grew up in, there are certain values, and the other one that is actually your true core, right? And being able to navigate between them, perhaps. Or standing now, looking at both of them and trying to figure out where you belong. So it says Magician and the Mirror, knowing and using your true power. So this card upright represents the culmination of your personal and spiritual power at this time. In the Magician's left hand is the flame of passion and action. In his right hand is a vortex of water and the light of reflection. The highly beneficial card is telling you that you are the magician, and within your grasp are the amazing forces of earth and spirit. The water is the energy of yin, the power of spirit and clarity of thought. The flame is the energy of yang, bringing direction and creativity. Together they give you the magnificent magic of transformation. The mirror stands beside the magician, reflecting the outer world's response to your choice to use or dismiss the true power that you have. Its silver reflection reveals the future in a mist on the horizon, ready to be magically formed. When you receive the magician's upright, you are put on notice that an important and powerful time is at hand. You are the alchemist of your life, and just as an alchemist turns base metal into gold, you are now able to transform your difficulties into great blessings. This is true in every era of your life. Claim your power and embrace your intentions in your heart and in your daily life. Direct your destiny, and the mists of the future will clear into brilliant reality. So this is an interesting thing from having maybe no direction, and if this was a journal, you wouldn't even know what to write in it. If this was a manifestation book, you wouldn't even know what you wanted to manifest, or you wouldn't even know how to write down your passions. So from having no clue on how to move forward to now standing with like a lot of power here. But a great transformation was needed here. Otherwise, it wouldn't be possible. Interesting. So Kali here, I wanted another card on Kali, and I get the Six of Cups here. So the Six of Cups is the same card that features the center in the Aries reading, right? That there is something about finding the right community, like fighting maybe for, fighting for, like the labyrinth that you needed to get out of was because it wasn't right for you, right? Fighting for that environment. Six of Cups talks about nostalgic, happy memories. It can be about childhood dreams, right? If she could have had here a friend, if she had had a friend like her, they are similar here, right? If she could have a friend like her and they could have played in the water, it would have given a totally different dynamic. Here she's just playing with dolls or with tools. The mirror effect that comes between someone who is like you, not you, but like you, similar to you. This is a very balanced. Sixes usually talks about something balanced, something calm, something more harmonious. And it doesn't mean that it has to be, quiet or something. Or it doesn't have to be feminine in some way. This can be like two very active children. It's just that they are the same, right? Like they could be very fiery people here. They could be very passionate about the animals and the plants and the nature here, right? And outdoorsy, right? It just means they are the same or they are alike. They're similar in a way, which balances everything out. One can be a little more brave maybe in one direction, the other one in another, but they accommodate each other in this balanced, perfect way. One is a girl, one is a boy, doesn't really matter. They have the same interest. They are inspired by the same things. They enjoy the same things. They like the outdoors. They like the animals. They like the garden, right? They like the sun. They like this play, right? That's what I feel like. If this one could have found others like her to play with, it would have been this mirror, right? It would have created a sense of connection, right? It creates a sense of connection that is very special. And because it creates connection, it also creates this understanding that what I am actually exists. What I am exists because someone is mirroring it to it. They are showing me the same. And we connect, like we have this understanding between each other. I'm not alone, right? I'm not alone here. I'm not the only one. I have an ally here. And it takes only one, actually. It takes only one who gets you. Right? But here she is alone here. And even though she may enjoy her dolls or balls or whatever these pearls may represent here, which is great, it's not quite the same. That mirroring effect that we get from someone who is just as enthusiastic as we are about the frog or the cat or the kitten or something here, the flowers. When we are with someone who is like us, who smiles about the same thing, who rejoices in the same things as us. You see, she has 3 cups here. Here there's 6 cups. Someone brings 3 and the other one brings 3. Now we have 6, right? But only having 3 here is, well, it can be okay, but she's still alone here. Here it now becomes 6. Now it actually becomes even memorable. These are nostalgic, happy memories. That's what the card represents. This can go like into childhood. It can be, it can even be past lives. I'm not quite sure in this case, but it could be. Well, I want to say, because I would say normally would these two be good like playmates? If we put them together here, would they be good playmates? I don't know. If they are into the same stuff, maybe. Like, if they like the same things, they have the same values, they fight for the same things, they love the same things, they could be. Normally, I wouldn't say that Kali is, it's the values. I realize all that doesn't serve me, right? It's time to be the true of who I am. And if the true of who she is has certain interests, and this one has the same, they could become friends maybe, right? But I think that it's like she has developed from this state because of something. She has developed into here. And what she could also be doing here is that she is defending her universe. She is defending who she is and what she is looking for in her life, right? That she's looking for someone who is like her, who understands and who has the same values, right? And she's prepared to do that. I said she is blue, right? And, well, this is a mermaid here, right? So, and Cup's energy is water, right? So I feel like for whomever I'm reading for here, Taurus, you or someone you're dealing with, like they are going through something and becoming quite focused. I feel like maybe fierce if necessary, but definitely focused on defending a special universe that is hers. A universe where she is looking for more. Again, I feel like it's like an insult to see Taurus only as an earth sign. That's actually what I get. It's like there is a big part of me that you don't see, right? Again, something about don't confine me, like don't put me in a certain box that I'm more than what people normally only think about Taurus. I'm more than that. Because Venus is feminine, right? Venus is feminine. There's a side to Taurus that people may not see as often. Because I said in the beginning, I believe that most feminine signs have become more masculinized over time because they had to. But there is a big thing about Taurus that you don't see. Like, it's, don't confine me only to like earthy matters here. I'm very much about the heart also, right? That the heart is equally or even more so a big part of me. I actually feel it feels a little bit like Taurus has been put in a box. Like it's supposed to be in this way, and it has these ideas and it has these thoughts. But actually there's more to us. There's more to Taurus. Because it's feminine, right? It's feminine. Venus is about close relationship, romantic close relationship, friends. It's about family also, second house. Right? It's about, there are definitely good times here. But in relationship to others, in relationship to someone else. I think Taurus, like many other feminine signs, have become good at actually doing things on their own. Like they can take care of many things on their own. They're quite self-sufficient, but actually they are still feminine, right? It's not because they want to take care of everything themselves, but they have developed into it because they had to. Every feminine sign at the core feels a bit threatened in this matrix we're in. It's not a nice place for us. So we have become our own masculine in some way. We have become our own fence. We are fending for ourselves. But it doesn't mean that we can still have the memories of when we didn't have to. When I was still like this, right? When I was still like this and just looking for a friend here. Or I had a friend, but for some reason they left, or they disappeared, or I lost them in some way. So without them, it wasn't the same. I had no one to identify with, or I had no one to mirror. I had no one to laugh with. I was alone, right? And to not isolate or to live, to survive, I had to adapt to where I was. I was still alone, but I was adapting, or pretty much, well, earthy matters can be about survival. Pentacles, right? It can be about money. It can be about food. It can be about shelter. It can be about, well, belonging. Growing legs. Walking on earth. Becoming part of a different tribe. You know, or, well, actually it feels a little bit like the current version of certain Taurus energy is there's more under the surface than is usually seen. As I feel like if Taurus have developed into, you know, like a more of a defensive or a more warrior-like energy, it was because they had to. It was not because they wanted to. They had to. And they are still missing the good old times when yin and yang was playing fairly with each other. When we had the good times. Before everything got heavy. Or before they moved away, perhaps here. This can represent funny good times. This is the loss of it, perhaps, or the giving up of it. And she is alone here. And it's not the same, being alone. So another card here on Kali. I get 8 of air here. Well, 8 of air is usually a mind prison. Again, I get this feeling of like being confined. Like, don't confine Taurus. It's what we know about feminine energy is that it has to be able to flow, like the water just flowing freely, If you try to confine it, it's look at her. It's like she loses the feathers. She's losing her life force energy. It's like it's abusive actually to her energy. Look, she can barely, she's crawling here, she can barely fly. Her feathers fall off here, right? It's like putting a dragon in a little bird's cave. It's like if the confinement space is very, very little, it's like they can't breathe. Yeah, it's like they can't breathe. And then they become like this, right? It's a coping mechanism and a defensive mechanism. If they feel confined somehow, maybe by responsibilities and earth energy is it's very orderly and very reliable and very trustworthy. It's very earthy and very grounded. It's practical, it's logical. It has a plan and it sticks to a plan. And that energy is too planned. Like it's too orderly. You know, my brother is a Taurus, and he says to me, I can't really follow orders like that, or well, you know, like a plan. I can make myself a plan for the next day, and then when I wake up, I don't want to follow it at all. He's desire based, like he follows like where his emotions and his desires take him that day. So he can well, if he went to work, he would do some of the stuff that is there, but then just as he leaves his workplace and sets himself in the car and wants to drive home, this other thing of his takes over. Like this other side that wants to be free and flow and have a good time here and celebrate, and it comes in. But I'm not sure many people see it, you know, it could be a bit hidden. And again, as I said, I don't think that you find as a Taurus, I don't think you find strategy in the masculine world. Like it's, or plan, or compass, or passion, or life mission, or what you want to call it. I don't think you find it necessarily in orderly planning. Very earthy, right? I don't think that is. You may have grown up there. You have learned the values of it, perhaps, you know. But it has never been your compass. It has never been your guiding light. It has never felt right. It has never been a need of yours. You need things to be more fluid. You need it to be maybe more creative, more loose somehow. But that is usually not favored in a workplace, right? A workplace usually desires us to be like more plan followers, right? That we are organizers. We can follow a plan. We can follow up on things. We follow through on something. There's a goal every day, or several, right? It's not flowy necessarily. It's not even pilots that fly through the air have a starting airport and a landing airport, right? They still have to bring A to B, or go from A to B, deliver from A to B. And I'm not saying that it's a bad thing. Our society is built on these principles, and for many reasons, I think that it helps. It helps with a lot of logistics, I want to say, in society, but it also diminishes some of the free-flowing energies, more creative energies. Creative energies, we know it with magicians, and if you try to confine it into a box, it's not working, right? The creativity is polluted. It becomes forced in some way. You can't force creativity. It's not working like that. It has to be free and flowing. And that's what I feel like. Don't confine. There is a creativity in Taurus that is maybe not At least for whom I'm reading for, it's not coming out or shown. Maybe a little bit more here, but it's still, I want to say, maybe in a healing phase or a recovery phase here. It's not quite ready to take off, it still feels confined. Eight of Air is a confinement, a mind trap, as I said, people grow up and they are told that, right, if they are creatives. They are told that money doesn't grow on trees. How will you pay your bills? You don't know if you're gonna earn money on your music. Who are you thinking would buy your paintings, right? Maybe you have been painting for years and nobody really bought your paintings. How are you supposed to sustain your bills? And now you have a kid along the way, right? A kid needs stability, a kid needs meals, a kid needs a stable home. You can't just drift around and things like that. So there can be other responsibilities that somehow now confine you to stay in a certain place or stay in some kind of relationship. And it feels like it's strangling you, right? That feeling. That a part of you is becoming maybe angry, resentful, hating that part, and needing to become really true about who you are, right? As I said, it's time to be the truth of who I am. Not what you've learned, not what you were taught, but who you are at your core, right? Yeah, that's what I feel like. I have for Taurus. I hope this helps somehow. I don't know if this Six of Cups is going to follow me during the readings here, because it is this environment where we feel seen and valued, and there is this beautiful exchange between them. Like these are best mates, right? Best friends. They always seem to go together. They're always loyal to each other. They always choose each other. It's such a genuine and beautiful exchange of energy that just flows. No matter what kind of sign you are here, right? This would be watery, but no matter what kind of sign, whether you're peace or you're chaos, it doesn't matter. The one you're with here is the same as you. They want the same. So whether they're looking for harmony and peace and just, quiet sitting in the sunshine, or they want to jump around and be active and play knights or whatever, it doesn't matter. This just represents someone like you, right? Someone who gets you. They're like you. You inspire each other. You can finish each other's sentences because you think alike, right? Do you get that? That's that kind of feeling. Best friends. Best friends ever. Best playmates, best friends. Most loyal friend, always choosing each other throughout lifetimes, even here. Recognizing each other, maybe throughout lifetimes. A beautiful, I want to say balanced, not that it's, well, it could be, but you get my point. I tried to describe Aries earlier, right? And it's very active and very forward moving, and it's the same. They are just like that then. In this case, I read for Taurus, so this is a feminine energy. This one is someone who likes to flow as well. They like to be free. They like to flow and just, one day we do this and the next day we do this. There's no real plan. It's free, it's flowy, it's watery perhaps. It's full of fantasy. Water can be fantasies, you know. It can be even be illusions, but dreams, visions, fantasies, you know, but that is the zone here. That is the zone of this card. And being protective of that this is who you are and this is what you want or need. That is the environment you're looking for. That is the people you're looking for. And maybe not what you come from here, that matrix or labyrinth here. A maze is typically this place that is, it feels a bit like a trap, right? And there are all these blind ways, blind ends that trap you, or that is disillusionizing you, right? It discourages you to get to a blind end. Then you have to go back again and try again, right? It's a puzzle. It's a mind puzzle, maybe here. Maybe a mind puzzle to seem to solve something or to find your way out of it, because again, as I said, it's like we have been growing up in this environment and we are seeking solutions within it. We may seek purpose within it. We may seek acceptance within it. It just doesn't feel right. It's still exhausting us. It's still, and finding purpose in there is, if it's not you, like if this is an environment that is the opposite of you, you cannot find purpose there, not real purpose, not true, real inner purpose. It cannot be found there. It will never give you exactly what you're looking for. Yeah, this is what I have. I hope this helped somehow. So it's like you're given a new journal, right? A new book, and you can start writing your knowing who you are at the core is valuable, because it's going to tell you something about the environment that you're looking for, the people you're looking for. Yeah. This is what I have. Take care of yourself out there, Taurus. Again, Magician and the Mirror is a beautiful card that tells you that you have everything available at the moment. Become very much aware of it, because this is an 8 year. And an 8 year is, we talk about 8 meaning as above, so below. So what you're thinking at the moment, what you dive into, or what you cling to, or what you try to manifest from is important. If what you think can become something. So be mindful about your thoughts. If you're angry at the moment, it can become a part of your life, right? So take care of yourself out there. As always, I send my best love and light to you. Bye bye.